due to the popular demand, we are going to do the kit video from Scott at Modern Samurai. So this is two parts. You're gonna have the first half of this video is going to be considerations for concealed carry, namely talking about holsters, and then the second half is gonna be all about red dots. So if you wanna skip one or the other, you can use the little things at the bottom, or in the description, there's little chapter sections. You can click those, it'll take you right to the beginning of that section, and that'll help you find what you're looking for. But since there's a lot of info in here, without further ado, here is Scott discussing kit.
Now, it doesn't have to be stiff all the way around, it just needs to be stiff where you need it, okay? Not everybody is the same. For example, me, I am a big ass oval, okay? Michelle is a very thin oblong circle, okay? I'm more of a circle and she's more of an oval, right? If she had my belt, I like the Core Essentials belt, right? Super stiff, but if I take this off and I drop it on the ground, it stays in the same circle. For me, that's perfect because I fill that space. On Michelle, not so much because that circle's here and she's in here and you have all that extra space in between, right? So what I would suggest for someone like Michelle's body is more of a universal holster, say like the Wilderness Tactical. Ernest Langdon has a belt out there, maybe the Blue Alpha belts, right? That are stiff where they need to be, but a little bit more giving in where you don't need that extra stiffness to hold on to your belt, okay? But here's the thing, if you do not have, or you doing an Old Navy fucking belt and stuff like that, especially with the technique I'm gonna show you about stabbing your gun out of a holster, you're just gonna start pushing your pants and your gun down and it's gonna be horrible, okay? Plus, the looser the belt is, the more you're gonna have a chance for it to bow out like that and print unnecessarily. Okay, plenty of good belt makers out there. All right, moving on. Let's talk about the part we want to get to, and that's the actual holster. Okay, guys. Lots of good holster makers out there. Okay, what you will generally see in all of those are a couple amount of feature sets which I think are necessary for concealment and performance, okay? The first thing you're gonna find is that they either have two mounting points or a very wide mounting point, right? For example, so again, guys, sorry for the capitalism. I'm gonna be talking about my Pro Model holster, right, along with other ones, because, you know, capitalism. So on mine, you got two wide ones here, right? There's other ones, for example, JM Custom Kydex and Spencer Keepers. They have the wide one clip, right? You want them to have a wide base like that so that your gun doesn't move, right? But Scott, I like it to move, so when I sit in my car, I can adjust it. Yep, till the shit hits the fan and you need to get to your gun and it's not there because it shifted, okay? I would rather know where my gun is at all times and give up a little bit of comfort, right, versus it not being where I want it to be, right? The only thing about those single clips that you need to be cognizant of is that they wear out in about 6 months because they're just tension based, right? So replace it every 6 months and you should be fine on that, okay? So I like to stay away from the one-sided clips, okay? The other thing, some sort of side claw here, okay? The only good holster out there that doesn't use the side claw is Spencer Keepers, right? But if you notice the way he has his is angled, which basically does the same thing, okay? But the claw does a couple of things. The one that everybody knows that it does is that it pushes the butt of the grip in, right? But the other thing it does is that it pushes the belt line out, okay? Why is that important? Your shirt's going to rest on the first thing that it touches. If you don't have the claw and this is here, the shirt's gonna rest on your grip. But if this pushes your belt line out, now your shirt rests on the claw and not your grip, and you get about that much more area to conceal the grip of your pistol. Does that make sense? Cool. Plenty of good ones out there. I like the ones that are more adjustable. Henry Holster / Filster has their mod wing, right? Dark Star, while his isn't adjustable, it has different ledges to make it adjustable based on your body type, right? Of course, I'm partial to the Tier 1 because it's stackable, okay? Me, I'm a big boy. I need all 4, okay? Again, Jim may only need 2, right? So it's customizable in that respect. Cool? All right. Next thing, some sort of wedge, okay? So this works with the claw, right, to push this out, pushing this in for better concealment. It also removes hot spots, okay? In a class like this where we're gonna be burning it down, you keep on holstering it. If you don't have this claw, that heat goes to the Kydex pretty quick, making life very unenjoyable, okay? You want something that's going to retain its shape, but is just a little bit soft, right? So it doesn't cause hot spots. That's why generally I don't like the ones that are built in, okay? Jeff Mao, who makes Tenacor holsters, right? Good dude, good holster, everything like that. But he builds in his wedge and that hard little thing. Now, here's the thing. Jeff, God bless him, but he's a small dude, right? He doesn't need that much wedge, okay? On me, it just creates hot spots, right? If you guys remember, the first modular AIWB holster was probably the Raven Concealment Eidolon, right? They had that little hockey puck on the back. On me, that didn't do anything, cause hot spots. On me, that was like throwing a hot dog down a hallway. It didn't do shit, okay? So I'm sitting there, it's like, there's gotta be a better way. On the side, my wife is a certified yoga instructor. She had a yoga block. I just fucking took that thing 7 years ago, cut it with a folder, double-sided Velcro. Holy shit, right? And if you looked at that thing, it was literally like that big, right? We're working on some bigger ones at Tier 1 Concealment to make it better for big dudes like me, right? But something like that, right? If you want good ones, Dark Star makes their teardrop one, a little bit too small for me. This is the wide 2.5, right? They have a whole bunch of different ones if you want something that's aftermarket that looks clean. Or on the other hand, if you're cheap, just go to Walmart, get a yoga block, double-sided Velcro, cut it with your folding knife, right? $7, you're good to go. If a magazine causes you not to carry something else that may be more important to you, a utility knife, a tourniquet or something like that, then don't do it. Especially all of you, except for one guy as a civilian. Reloads are unimportant statistically for civilians in a self-defense, right? But if you can have it and it doesn't block anything else, why not? Why not, right? That's why on my two, I have one that you can wear detached and one that is attached, right? Both models are interchangeable. You can take this one off if you wanted to. On the previous detached model, you can put this on if you wanted to, right? Just options, just like this class. I'm not here to tell you what's right or wrong. I'm here to give you options and you guys decide on your own after the class. Now on the internet out there, propagated by my very good friends over at Primary and Secondary, they hate the sidecar design, okay? But they hate it based on old stuff of it not being able to flex. Now it flexes. What's the difference? What's the difference, right? So again, your mileage may vary, okay? Ride height, okay? So, see the ride height on mine, okay? My test is this. My 3 fingers from my pinky to my index finger, or my middle finger, I want to be able to have them straight so they fit behind my pants and my belt without bending them, okay? So when I teach you guys the stab, right, there's no guessing. It's Mongo-like straight lines, and it is a straight line until you grab it and then you stab it out. If your holster is so low that you have to negotiate and time a curve in your fingers, that's why half of your draws are very inconsistent, okay? You don't need to mess with your holsters now. We maybe do that on a break or something like that if you want to raise it up, right? But the way you raise it up is basically, and negotiate that to have higher without printing forward, right, is the wedge and the claw combination to bring it back in. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. I'm gonna give you my pecking order and which dots I really like and which I don't really care for, okay? So it's changed over the last 6 months dramatically, right? We are living in an amazing time right now where lots of manufacturers are putting out very good dots with lots of features and benefits and very durable options, long-lasting battery life, right? So we're in a great time. Problem is, you got a lot more choices now and you have to figure it out, right? But just like how we talked about zeroing yesterday and what you want to choose, you have to do it based on your practical application, which part of that is your budget, okay? So the number one spot is actually shared by 3 optics, okay? And this is the first time you're hearing it, dude, so it's a major shift now, right? Mm-hmm. So the top 3 optics in no order in the top 1 position, the Aimpoint Acro P2, not the P1. Ain't nobody got time for your 6-week battery life, okay? The Steiner MPS, and then the Holosun 509T, okay? What you'll notice that all 3 of those are enclosed optics. That is a coincidence, okay? I don't get wrapped around between the closed emitter, open emitter type of thing, right? Primarily because the reason why you want an open emitter, in case you're the one guy, civilian or LE, that got into a gunfight in the rain at a distance where sights actually mattered, okay? Half my classes are with LE. I have yet to find one guy that ever got into a gunfight with a pistol in the rain where sights actually mattered. The reason why I like those three is because of window size, to be honest with you. Window size and the glass and what kind of a backup iron sights you can use, okay? So all three of those have very good, generous window sizes. But the thing is, because of the square shape and the size of the optic, it actually goes lower than some of the non-closed or the open emitters, so you can use stock irons, right? Iron sights don't cost that much, but if you don't have to change them out, why not? Why not? Okay. I like a very, just so you guys know, I like a very low. The word co-witness gets misunderstood, right? But I like a 1/16. I want to barely see my irons above the bottom ledge of the glass. Okay, that's me. Your mileage may vary. All right. So let's talk about each one of those, right? The P2, right? I had a pre-production model that Aimpoint gave to Walther. Walther gave to me. I've had it for 7 months now. Never changed out the battery. Good to go. Good to go. Very tough, very robust, yada, yada, yada. Okay? As Aimpoint should have been when they came out with the P1. All right? The Steiner MPS is probably the newest one. The only thing I don't like about the Steiner MPS is that if you get a specific model, it has a 13-hour automatic shutoff. If you haven't touched one of the buttons in 13 hours, it will shut off to save battery life. It's annoying, okay? The newer ones, the 1.2, right, you can unprogram that 13-hour shutoff, okay? Now, I believe the battery name is 1592, right? Same as the Holosun. You will probably get about 6 months battery life out of that if you shoot in a lot of varying conditions with a lot of brightness, okay? It is the most aesthetically pleasing, in my opinion, red dot out there, right? Now, look, function before fashion, but what you do doesn't have to be ugly all the time, all right? Oh, by the way, that'll tell you that it works with an acro plate. You will have 0 shifts, right? Where's AJ at? What was the difference between the 0 of the plate between the acro and the one that CNH makes?
Sure. So there's like a space where it's essentially the locking bar fits into. On the acro, it's set up because the acro has a little larger screw system, basically a recoil block in it, right? And because there's so much space on the Steiner, under recoil, it will shift, right? So what they've done is they've tightened that up so that you don't get that. It's much like, a Picatinny rail has got space. When you mount an optic, you mount it all the way forward. Same idea here, except they've eliminated the space so you don't get that recoil shift. Yeah, so it's awesome.
It should be out in a couple of weeks from CNH, right? So I have a T&E one. You guys, you follow my Instagram, you saw that I shot a 100 cold in front of 24 students in LA with it, right? So there's that one, right? And then finally the Holosun 509T, probably the one with the most features and benefits. It's cool. You can shut it on and off, right? Aimpoint's the most expensive one. Not as expensive as I thought it was going to be, man. I thought they were going to get to T2 area, like $700-800. I think it's like low 5s, right? Steiner is mid 4s, right? And then you can probably pick up a 509, low 4s, high 3s, right? So if you can have the closed emitter, as you can have generous window size, you don't have to upgrade your irons, right? And it's the same cost. Why not? Why not, right? The one thing about the closed emitter that's a benefit is the nitrogen purging, right? Makes it fogging resistant. All right, so those are the top 3, right? Why would you pick one over the other? If you work for an agency and the optic you have to pick has to be part of a NATO contract or some shit like that, then you got to go with the Aimpoint. If you're a SEAL doing, saltwater beach landings and stuff, the Aimpoint will probably be the only one that will survive that on a continual basis. Okay, the Steiner, again, the most aesthetically pleasing NATO contract, right? 509. If you have to have somebody with a NATO relationship, it's not going to be Holosun because it's Chinesium, right? For the rest of you guys, if you don't want to do the Chinesium stuff, I'd say get over that shit, okay? Chinese invented gunpowder. Get over it, all right? And it's, has the most features and benefits out there, okay? So you decide on what you want to. Number 2 is the Trijicon RMR. It's been around the longest, most proven, most durable, yada, yada. It's a number 2 because of the window size, okay? With the technique I showed you guys yesterday, window size doesn't matter all that much, but if it's for the same cost and you can have a bigger window, why not? Why not, okay? Number 3 is the Delta Point Pro. Now, the reason why it's number 3 is that it's been around the second longest. I know a lot of good dudes doing good work with the Delta Point Pro. Me personally, I've never had good luck with that thing. I have 6 back at my house. One of them, the emitter glass scratch, so instead of a dot now it's a lightning bolt, right? I got 3 of them where there is a pink digital looking box around the dot, okay? I have another one where the battery door won't close, another one where the sticker for the battery contact keeps on coming up. Never had good luck with them. If you have, you knock yourself out, okay? A lot of good dudes out there between the unit and between U.S. Marshals doing good work with the Delta Point Pro. Me personally, I've never had good luck with it. That's why it's number 3, okay? Everything else is an also-ran, sans the SRO, which we'll talk about in a little bit, okay? Vortex. Would I trust my life to a Vortex Mini Red Dot right now? I would not. I would not. Here's the thing though, man. I did some consulting work for them 3 years ago. I know they've got new designs out. For some reason, they are not releasing them, right? Which they need to shit or get off the pot because they're becoming irrelevant in the mini red dot game, right? Which is why they don't do what they did with the rifle long glass stuff that they have, where they went from Chinesium to a respected brand because of the Razor. I'm not sure, but for right now, not worth consideration. The only optic that I truly don't like is the Shield RMS, okay? I don't understand how that thing was sold by JP Rifles, called the J Point, right? 10 years ago. And they sold it for $185. And then the British company takes the rights back, and now they sell it for $430. The window is not glass, it's plastic. If you look at it too hard, it will scratch, okay? There's no inscriptions on the optic for windage elevation, so you need an Allen wrench and a wheel that goes around it, so more stuff to carry, right? There's no tactile or audible adjustments in the windage and elevation, just free spinning hippie love up in there, right? And to be European, they made the windage and elevation directions opposite of everybody else, right? So the thing I like to associate myself with is companies with a shooting culture, right? Obviously, Trijicon, Leupold, even the guys that work for Holosun here, Conus, right? Like guys like Joe Savio, those guys shoot their asses off, right? That's how they get all the information back to the motherland, and we get all those updates on those cool new optics from Holosun, right? By definition, Shield is a British company. They don't shoot pistols, right? How the hell do they know what you need as an end user? They have no skin in the game. Does that make sense, right? So fuck those guys. Anyway, moving on. Burris and Bushnell, hobby grade, put on your daughter's cricket 22, go shoot field mice, okay? And then finally, I think that's all of them except for the SRO. So the SRO is an interesting investigation in features and benefits, okay? Why obviously that is up for debate and stuff like that is because of Aaron Cowan's drop test, right? Where he tested it and the glass, it didn't shatter, but it went opaque, okay? He'll tell you that that's just his test. He's just trying to speed up use, right? He says if you dig it, you dig it. If you don't, you don't, right? So Trijicon sent me an SRO because they wanted some counter information to his drop test, right? So I had that on my pistol for a Glock 17 for about 25 classes, close to 12,000 rounds. In 6 of those classes, I emptied the gun, put it at slide lock, verified it, and then threw it 30 feet in the air, and it landed on hard dirt like this, broken concrete, gravel, pea gravel, stuff like that. And the SRO survived every single time. The last time I did in Cleves, Ohio, which is a pea gravel range, everything on that gun broke except for the SRO, right? I was a dumbass and didn't take off the Surefire, and that completely shattered. But wait a minute. Surefire's duty grade, isn't it? Something to think about, right? The takedown levers on the Glock went into the polymer, completely ruining that frame, and the SRO survived. Now, the SRO finally died 4 classes later, right? But if you go through 12,000 rounds in, 5 or 6 months, throw your gun 30 feet in the air 6 times, you're living life way too hard, okay? Right? But if you're that high-speed guy that fast ropes out of helicopters, and when you do that, you always land on your holster, right? Or when you transition to prone to your carbine, you always land on your holster, right? You got a foot chase and you have to hop over a wall. You hit the wall with your holster first, or you drop your gun a lot. That is not the optic for you. By the way, if you are that guy, please let me know so I can put you on the other side of the line, all right? But if the features and benefits of the clear glass, great dot, big window, easy adjustments, top loading battery, resonate with you, then you knock yourself out, man. We talked a little bit about Fort Worth and their long T&E. They're going all with SROs, right? So,
what about the Jaegerworks shroud? The steel shroud that Jaegerworks makes, the Bros?
Yeah, it works. It's ugly as sin. You bring up your optic, and you'll have this, and you'll have this shield around it with light coming through. Depending on which run of Safariland ALSs you have, you'll have to take a Dremel to it, which I'm sure you've already done, right? But you'll have to do some modifications and stuff like that to do it. Yeah. And besides, if you're that guy that living life way too hard and stuff, that ain't gonna help it. That's not gonna help it, right? So there's the one thing though about the SRO. There's a magic spot on there, right? That if you could hit, as long as you don't hit that magic spot, you could hit that thing with a sledgehammer, you're good. Nick Young from the Locks is teaching a class over there. But if you touch that magic spot with a feather, it will crack. Problem is, nobody knows where that special spot is. Do you know who found it though? You know what's more brutal than any Aaron Cowan drop test? TSA, right? They see locked gun, they see boxes with locks, and they just start fucking throwing shit. And through volume, they have found it on 2 of my SROs, right? It is what it is, right? It's almost like I got to take everything apart, wrap it, and do it there because TSA is brutal, right? So that's that, okay? Backup irons, I dig them. Put them on your gun, guys. It's a secondary sighting system that doesn't slow you down, right? Even if it's not for your optic going down, for extreme, like off-axis positions, right? Where your head can't be up and your gun can't be up in level, it may help you actually find the dot, right? Much like what Dan Brokos teaches with carbines in severe positions on hard angles, okay? And why not? It doesn't slow you down, okay? And I hate empty spaces on guns. I think they're silly. Treating it for rain or fog. If you have an open emitter, cat crap, okay? Just do it. It goes against, it will repel against dirt, water, fog, all that other stuff. Other than that, maintenance is pretty easy.
There you go. There is Scott's discussion on kit, both with holsters and with red dots. Hope you guys found that informative. Hope it helped you in some of the decisions you're looking to make. As Scott mentioned, he has his own line of holsters through Tier 1 Concealed. You can find them. I use QVO Tactical. There's a link down below for them. Both great holster companies. There's lots of great options out on the market. See what works for you. I would say in my experience, spend the money, try a few different things to find out what really works for you. And then once you know, you know. On top of that, if you are interested in any of the red dots that Scott talked about, you can go to Big Tex Ordnance. They have a ton of optics. I think they're getting ready to do an optics sale if it's not already going on. So check that link down below as well. Goonlife saves you some money there. I know Scott has a code too. I think it's Jedi, maybe Jedi 10. I don't remember. But use my code because it's better. Don't use Jedi's. He's not important. He's got his own store. It's no big deal. Whatever. Anyways, thank you guys for following along. Leave a comment down below. It helps the algorithm. Let me know what your favorite optic is and whether or not you agree with Scott. Again, thanks to Big Tex Ordnance for being big supporters of the channel and helping both Scott and I make this happen. Make sure that like and subscribe, karate chop that bell so you get notified every time we upload a video, and I will see you guys in the next one.